want to bury your 25-year-old nephew.
On July 29th, 2023, a night that was supposed to mark the biggest moment of 350 Heem's career ended in tragedy.
And some advice I want to share to the youth is, be you. Don't try to be like your favorite rapper. Don't try to be like your favorite actor. Don't try to be like nobody. Be you. Whatever you like, you do. Whatever you want to do, you do. You feel me? Chase your dreams. Don't let nobody tell you different. It's just like that, though.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody be telling them that these days, you feel me? But that's definitely what they need to hear.
The Florida rapper was celebrating the release of his long-awaited project Taking Chances 3 at the Jade Fox Lounge in Lakeland. Fans, friends, and family packed the venue, expecting music, joy, and memories. But just after 1:51 a.m., gunfire shattered the celebration, and the parking lot transformed into a scene of chaos. Inside, 350 Heem, real name Raheem Bacon, was with loved ones, promoting the music he believed would change his life forever. Outside, tensions escalated into a violent confrontation, and at the center of it all stood 23-year-old Jamila Johnson, a name tied to the dark twist that turned celebration into heartbreak. Raheem's story began on February 26, 1998 in Lakeland, Florida. He was the youngest of 5, raised in a household full of love but also constant struggle. His mother, Kenny Crawford, worked tirelessly to keep the family together, often sacrificing everything to give her children a chance at something better. And for Raheem, family was always at the heart of his journey. Before the world knew him as 350 Heem, Raheem Bacon was simply a son, a brother, and a kid growing up in Lakeland, Florida. His older brother, Dwayne Bacon, made it all the way to the NBA, grabbing headlines with his basketball career. But while Dwayne's path was clear, Raheem's journey was still unfolding in the same streets they both came from. From early on, Raheem stood out, funny, energetic, and always protective of the people he cared about. Friends remembered his big smile, his charm, and how he could light up a room, but behind that, he carried a quiet determination. He wanted more for himself and even more for his family. In a city with limited opportunities, that kind of hunger was everything. At Lake Gibson High, Raheem played varsity basketball, following in his brother's footsteps. He graduated with the class of 2016, making his family proud. Basketball gave him discipline, teamwork, and drive. But it was music where he found his true voice. Life forced Raheem to grow up fast. Just days after turning 18, he became a father. While his classmates worried about prom and college, Raheem was learning how to raise a daughter and later, a son. His kids quickly became the center of his world, the reason he pushed harder to make his dreams real. But Lakeland carried pressure along with pride. Raheem once called it a crab in a bucket city, a place where success often attracted envy, and envy could turn dangerous. His mother, determined to protect him, urged him to move to Tallahassee after high school. There, he enrolled in community college, met people who would later support his music, and tried to stay focused in a new environment. Still, distance couldn't erase all the struggles. Between 2017 and 2019, Raheem faced run-ins with the law, including charges tied to drugs and weapons. He spent time in Leon County, an experience that became a wake-up call. He knew the pain of losing freedom, and he vowed never to go back. Raheem wasn't defined by mistakes. He came home more determined than ever, ready to channel his energy into music. This was the moment 350 Heem was born, with a hunger to turn his story into sound. As 350 Heem, Raheem quickly found his sound and his lane. His music, raw, melodic, and full of pain mixed with perseverance, started gaining traction on YouTube with songs like Water, pulling in hundreds of thousands of views. Fans connected to his honesty as he rapped about love, struggle, violence, and survival drawn straight from his own life. By 2021, his grind paid off. He signed with Motown Records, a dream for any rising artist. That December, he dropped his project Major League, and suddenly his name was echoing far beyond Lakeland. By April 2023, Blue Magazine profiled him, calling his music powerful melodies and street anthems. In that same interview, Raheem said, "Being at the forefront of my city, it's on me to keep the light shining." His words showed ambition, but also responsibility. He wasn't just chasing fame. He wanted to represent Lakeland and open doors for other local artists. For his fans, his wins felt like theirs too. But success in a city like Lakeland could be dangerous. While Raheem was carving a name for himself, shadows always lingered. By July 28, 2023, he reached another milestone with his mixtape, Taking Chances 3, featuring songs like Dangerous Love and Gunshots. To mark the release, he hosted a party at Jade Fox Lounge in the Highlands Plaza, a night meant to celebrate his rise, but one that would take a tragic turn. Raheem went all out promoting his release party, posting on social media, hyping it as an upscale, star-filled event. Even his brother, NBA player Dwayne Bacon, was set to attend. For Raheem, this wasn't just a party, it was proof he had made it, but celebration and chaos can be closer than anyone thinks. In that same lounge was a woman whose presence would shift the night toward tragedy, 23-year-old Jamila Johnson. At first glance, she looked like anyone else in the crowd, dancing, laughing, blending into the flashing lights. But beneath that image was a reputation that told a darker story. By her early 20s, Jamila was already known for arrests, fights, and reckless choices. People who knew her described her as quick-tempered, unafraid of confrontation, and carrying a restless energy that often pulled her into conflict. While many tried to avoid trouble, Jamila seemed to meet it head-on, and the court system had the records to back it up. Raised in Polk County, Florida, she grew up in a world where hardship and opportunity constantly clashed. For some, that environment built resilience. For Jamila, it fueled a path of conflict, one that would collide with Raheem's biggest night in the worst way. Jamila Johnson's reputation didn't appear overnight. It built up through years of trouble. Her first serious arrest came in 2018, at just 20 years old, when she was caught illegally carrying a concealed weapon. Police said she had no permit, no clearance, no reason, just reckless behavior that hinted at the risks she was willing to take. By 2019, her name popped up again, this time for marijuana possession. On its own, some might see it as minor, but for Jamila, it was another strike, another piece of a growing record. Soon after came charges that showed her volatile side, resisting arrest, refusing to comply, and even brawling in public. Instead of backing down, she pushed the limits, proving she wasn't afraid of confrontation. By 2020 and 2021, Jamila had already earned a reputation in Polk County. To many, she was seen as quick to anger, unafraid of authority, and comfortable with chaos. These weren't isolated slip-ups. They formed a timeline, each arrest like a warning sign of what could come next. Yet, despite it all, Jamila still walked freely into the Jade Fox Lounge on July 28, 2023. This time alongside her mother, 48-year-old Regina Orr. They weren't guests of honor, but they weren't strangers to drama either. And no one inside that night knew just how much their presence would change Raheem 350 Heem Bacon celebration forever. What was meant to be 350, Heem's proudest night, quickly spiraled out of control. Jamila Johnson and her mother, Regina Orr, brought tension the moment they arrived. Around 12:30 a.m., they argued at the entrance over the cover charge before finally paying and walking in. Inside, the vibe was still upbeat. Music blasting, drinks flowing, photos snapping. But by 1:30 a.m., security sensed the energy shifting. Then at 1:35 a.m., chaos erupted. Regina suddenly struck Raheem's mother, Kenny Crawford. The single punch lit the fuse. Screams filled the room, fists flew, and in seconds, the release party turned into a brawl. By 1:40 a.m., the fight spilled into the parking lot, dozens rushing outside as the night descended into mayhem. By 1:51 a.m., the release party had turned into chaos. Two off-duty Lakeland police officers tried to control the crowd, but then a gunshot shattered the night. Raheem pulled a 9mm pistol and fired, hitting Regina Orr and sending her crashing to the ground. Panic erupted. People screamed, ducked, and scattered everywhere. That's when Regina's daughter, 23-year-old Jamila Johnson, pulled out a stolen Glock. Without hesitation, she aimed and fired, hitting Raheem as he tried to run. Witnesses froze as he stumbled, collapsed near a parked car, and fought for breath while bleeding on the pavement. At that moment, bystander Isaac Harris pulled into the lot. Seeing Raheem collapse in front of his car, he jumped into action, dragging the wounded rapper inside his vehicle and speeding toward Lakeland Regional Hospital, blowing through red lights to save his life. Outside Jade Fox Lounge, chaos kept unraveling. Sirens wailed as paramedics rushed Regina Orr into an ambulance. Police chased Jamila Johnson as she tried to flee. She tossed her Glock to the pavement, but Raheem's 9mm pistol was nowhere to be found. Only shell casings proved it had been fired, leaving a mystery that would raise serious questions. At the hospital, doctors fought to save Raheem, but the damage was too severe. Minutes after arriving, 350 Heem Bacon was pronounced dead at just 25 years old. His biggest night ended with flashing lights, blood on the pavement, and silence in the hospital room. Back at the scene, officers locked down the lot, marking evidence and collecting Jamila's discarded Glock. But Raheem's missing gun became the most puzzling detail. Witnesses told detectives the same thing. Raheem had fired first, 1st, striking Regina Orr. Jamila's response turned the night from celebration to tragedy. Prosecutors ruled that Jamila Johnson fired to protect her wounded mother. And by August 21st, 2023, the case took a shocking turn. She wasn't charged with murder. Instead, only with carrying a concealed firearm and tampering with evidence after tossing the Glock while fleeing. For the justice system, the case was closed. But for Raheem's family and fans, it felt far from over. They couldn't understand how a 25-year-old rising star could be killed, yet no one held directly accountable. Online, supporters demanded answers. Why had Raheem's gun vanished? Who took it? And if it had been found, would prosecutors have made the same decision? Police had shell casings proving the 9mm was fired, but the weapon itself was gone, lost in the chaos. And that missing piece left a cloud of doubt hanging over everything. For Raheem's loved ones, the unanswered questions were almost as painful as losing him. His mother, Kenny Crawford, demanded to know why the system moved so quickly to clear Jamila Johnson of murder. To her, it felt like her son's life had been reduced to a technicality. Fans flooded social media with anger and heartbreak, saying 350 Heem deserved better, and calling out what they saw as a failure of justice. In Lakeland, murals began popping up with Raheem's face. Candles lined the sidewalks, and his music blasted from car speakers as the city mourned. For the community, his death wasn't just about one man. It symbolized how quickly success could be taken away, and how fragile hope really was in places where opportunity was rare. Meanwhile, investigators stayed quiet about the missing 9mm, offering no updates. Every day that passed without answers only fueled more rumors. Was the weapon taken by someone close to Raheem? Did police mishandle the scene? Or was there more to the story than anyone was saying? What's certain is that the night that should have cemented Raheem's rise instead became the night his legacy was rewritten forever. Was Raheem's missing gun taken to protect his name, or was it evidence that could have changed the case? The truth may never be known. On September 12th, 2023, the state attorney's office confirmed no homicide charges would be filed against Jamila Johnson, ruling her actions as self-defense. Legally, the case was closed, but for Raheem's family, friends, and fans, the pain was far from over. Lakeland came together to mourn as 350 Heem was laid to rest, his brother Dwayne Bacon standing in grief beside their mother. At just 25, his life ended before it reached its full promise, leaving behind children, a family, and a city that believed in his rise. For many, the reduced charges and missing gun felt like justice denied. Yet Raheem's music still lives on, carrying the voice of a young artist who wanted to shine light on his city. His story is a reminder of both the promise and the fragility of chasing a dream. This was the life and death of 350 Heem Bacon. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment your thoughts below.